Cruising World, Mick the Suit Guy with you. It's Monday. Monday is tips day. I'm very excited because Scott sent me 12, count that, 12 tips. That's almost a month's worth. It's either going to be 3 weeks or 4 weeks. We're going to see how quick the tips are because, as always, I have not read them yet. We're going to read and react. 12 tips from Scott. And as a reward, Scott gets his own suit. So Scott is going to get the Batman suit for all of these. By the way, if you notice a bit low level on the shoes, it's because I have started packing for my 17-day upcoming bonanza on Carnival Venezia. So these shall be the suits I shall be wearing on said cruise, plus this one. So sneak preview. And I shall be making a fool of myself in karaoke in many of those suits, I have no doubt. One of these days, I'm actually going to put a video up of my greatest karaoke moments. Won't be very long. Anyways, let's get on with it. Scott's tips. Number 1. Like I said, I've not read them. We're going to react as we go. All right, so let's read the intro first. Aloha, Mick. As a regular viewer of your channel, I know that you have legions of fans. I don't know about legions, Scott. I don't know about legions, but we'll see. So you may not recall I sent you 6 tips earlier this summer, and I do recall that, Scott. After a weekend cruise on the Radiance. When I sent those to you, I also wrote that I was looking forward to a week-long cruise on the Panorama with extended family. After you reviewed my tips on your channel, you challenged me to provide 12 tips following my next cruise. My response to you is challenge accepted. I like challenges, so let's see. Here are 12 new tips for your consideration. We'll get through a few each week, so you're not going to get them all in one go. I ain't got that much breath. I need a rest. Gotta have a red stripe between each video. Tip number 1, on the topic of fresh air. Ooh, fresh air, huh? If you are fortunate enough to have a balcony cabin, you may want to prop the door open to bring in the breeze. But the doors are built like bank vaults and will not stand open on their own. You can jam a little balcony table in the doorway, but then it becomes impassable. So your best bet is to bring something from home. A standard door wedge doesn't work because the door has a raised watertight threshold. I have found that the easiest solution is simply pack 6 feet of rope, which is enough to tie in a loop around the door latch on one side and the balcony rail on the other. It's not the most elegant look, but it works just fine. However, please note that the best practice is to close the balcony door if you leave your cabin, and you must be aware of the wind tunnel that can be created if you open your front door while the balcony door is held open. This is especially a concern if you have door decorations, as the wind can be so strong that the magnets holding the decorations on your door end up stuck on the door across the hall. That's quite a start, Scott. That's quite a start. Well, where do I start on that one? Because it's a little bit of a no-no to do that because of the wind draft, as you explained. If you do have your balcony door open and somebody opens the front door without closing that, wind tunnel from hell. And I'm not strictly speaking sure it's allowed. I think you're supposed to keep it closed. Don't know. Not going to comment on that. But if that's what you want to do, who am I to tell you you cannot? I'm not exactly sure who's going to bring 6 feet of rope. I don't have room for 6 feet of rope, but yeah, if anybody wants to do that, go ahead. Interesting start, Scott. Interesting start. Number 2, I don't have much to say on that, really. Not one I would have ever given. Doesn't mean it's bad. Bring 6 feet of rope. What else did he say? Bring 6... I've lost it. Where's 6 feet of rope gone? Bring a standard door wedge, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, bring 6 feet of rope, which is enough to tie in a loop around the door latch on one side and a balcony rail on the other. Oh, all right, I get it. So you're doing that. All right. Make sure you do a tight knot. I was in the Navy. I know knots. The Royal Navy, that is. Sometimes I read these things, and as I'm reading them, I'm trying to think of what my response will be, and I don't always listen to myself reading them fully. So I had to go back and retrack that one. Number 2, on the topic of finding the right bar for your budget. Most drink prices are the same all over the ship, so it doesn't really pay to shop around for a bargain. However, you will sometimes find yourself with a time budget, time in uppercase, T-I-M-E, especially if you're on your way to a show or you have set dining, in which case your selection of a bar takes on some added weight. For example, I like the Alchemy bar for their quality of bartending and unique signature drinks. However, part of the Alchemy lifestyle is that the bartender will sometimes mix 7 different drinks in a theatrical way, which is wonderful to watch if you're not in a hurry, but beware that your card won't get swiped until every drink is made, and you may not have the luxury of time to swoon over the performance. If you're in a bit of a hurry, then I suggest the Tides bar or the Havana bar, where they seem to have a knack for getting a drink in your hand with a minimum of fuss. 100% accurate on that one. Main reason that you'll get it quickly at the Tides bar or the Havana bar is that there's rarely anything going on there, so it's rarely very busy, in my experience. Now, if the Havana bar's got the Latin band playing or anything like that, it'll be a little bit busier. But ordinarily, it's one of the quieter ones on the ship, and it is at the back where the restaurants typically are. So, yeah, we do that. I know Julie likes to have a... well, we were just on the Legend, and Jen used to make Julie this amazing... I didn't even know what was in it, but Julie loved it. Only made by Jen. What can I say? Some yellow drink. I have no idea what it was. And she would always put it in like 15 minutes before she knew we were going for dinner or something like that. So she had time to get it. And if you're running a bit late for dinner, it doesn't matter. But the shows, yeah, you need to get in there early. So just allow time for that. But you are correct. It is slow in a good way to get served in the Alchemy. The other thing is, tip the bartenders early. Not Alchemy, the other bars. Tip them early in the week. And then every time you walk in there, they'll hand you a red stripe. Hint, hint. Hand you a red stripe. All right, number 3. On the virtues of the deli counter. These are quite posh tips, Scott. You put a lot of thought into this. A lot more thought than I normally do. One of the knocks against Carnival is the lack of late night dining options. And I have to say, I agree. After the buffet gets shuttered, you're basically left with a pizza place, the deli counter, or room service for a fee. Among the options available, it seems that most people head for the pizza counter and then remain there no matter how long the line is. Might I suggest a walk to the deli counter instead, where the lines are generally shorter and most of the sandwiches are pretty good. And here's a special shout out to the steak and cheese sandwich. When it's late at night and you've had a lot to drink, the steak and cheese is a little too greasy, a little too salty, and a little too perfect. I can't really speak to that because I'm not going to lie, I don't go to the pizza place. The only time I went to the pizza place was when I was on the Celebration and we closed down the Alchemy with the Nicholas, Crazy Nicola. Sadly, no more with Carnival. Crazy Nicola has retired from Carnival. Moment of silence for Crazy Nicola. He's getting married round about now and he gone. He not coming back. Moving on. Sad. Very sad. I hope he stays in touch. But no more Nicola. Tall Nicola. Yes, he's there. So there's those two. Attila. And some of the barbacks. I honestly can't remember their names. I'm really embarrassed. But anyway, they would have me go and get them pizza at the end of the night while they closed down. It was their charge for allowing me to drink Red Stripe in the Alchemy. That's the only time I really got that pizza. But I honestly did not know that the deli was open that late. I thought the deli closed a bit earlier. So that's actually good to know because if you have the choice, there's always a line at pizza. It moved pretty quick late at night. In my experience, when I went down to get it for them, it went pretty quick. But it was on the Mardi Gras and there's like boom, 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 so many people working there. I don't know. But yeah, so do it, I guess. All right. I think what I'm going to do is, I got 12. I'm going to do 4 each week because I've got some more to do after that. So I'm going to do these 4. So I'll do one more. Tip number 4 on the physics of magnetism. Remember, Scott, I left school when I was 15. Words like physics and magnetism. Before my most recent cruise, I read suggestions to pack magnetic hooks in order to create more storage space in our cabin, since most of the walls are metal. We did bring some hooks, and they were invaluable for keeping hats and binoculars off the desk. When I tried to hang a jacket on one of the hooks, it was heavy enough to drag the hook down the wall, and I figured too bad for that. But then I remembered that a magnet will hold more weight if the direction of pull is opposed to the direction of the magnetic force. Is this a class? Instead of pulling obliquely, But then I remembered that a magnet will hold more weight if the direction of pull is opposed to the direction of the magnetic force instead of pulling obliquely. So I stuck the hook on the ceiling instead of the wall and found that 2 jackets could hang on it easily. This is the difference between pull strength, which is strong, and shear strength, which is weaker. Maybe high school physics was not a waste of time after all. I'm going to take your word for it, Scott. I am going to take your word for it. Because that is way above my pay scale. Way above my pay scale. So if you gathered that, shear force and pull strength is different, and stick it on the ceiling. Stick it on the ceiling. I want to know how heavy the binoculars were to hang on a hook. How heavy was the hook? Binoculars are quite heavy. I could see it holding a hat. But a hook, I would imagine binoculars are about as heavy as a jacket. What do I know? What do I know? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, Scott, they were excellent tips for somebody that's educated. I am not educated before you start. I still think they were great tips because they eventually, after I read them a few times, they made sense to me. Well, the deli one made sense. And the bar one made sense. Yeah. But the fresh air and the physics one, I had to read a couple of times. It may pay for me to read these in advance sometimes, but then I don't think it would be as much fun. So yeah, anybody that's got an education will understand the physics one, and anyone with 6 foot of rope will understand the first one. Good enough. Perfect. All right, Scott. I will continue with 4 more of yours next week, aka I'm going to stop the video, hit start again, sit right here in about 30 seconds and pretend it's a week later and record it again. Possibly why I award you a suit for all of the videos. Just going to leave it there. Subscribe to my little channel. We're closing in on 2,000. We're not at the heady levels of other people, but we have a good fun doing it. If you have any questions, my email is coming up at the end of this video. And if you want to send your tips in and confuse the hell out of me like Scott has, by proving I'm stupid, kudos, Scott. Kudos. No, seriously, very good tips. Very good tips. Just, I'm not that intelligent. What was it again? Shear strength, which is weaker than pull strength. Well done. Well done, Scott. Well done. In a good way. That's not sarcastic in any way, shape, or form. I'm incredibly impressed. I keep going back to it. I'm going to go back to that binocular. I'm going to try this. I'm going to get a hook, and I'm going to hang a jacket and a pair of binoculars. We'll do a test. Maybe we'll do a live screen test and see if it holds the binoculars. Anyway, as I was saying, send me your tips and send me your cruising traditions. I'd love to get them, and we can use them for future videos. All right, and with that, until next week, 1 minute. I will see you later, Cruising World. Any questions? Email me anytime. cruisingsuitguy@gmail.com. I promise I'll reply as soon as possible. Want to book a cruise or any type of travel? We are travel agents. Check out our site, elitetravelconnection.com or email me, mick@elitetravelconnection.com. We are here for you. Finally, subscribe, please. Pretty please. You know you want to. Go on. I won't beg you. Okay, I'm begging. Please. Subscribe. Thank you.